You just did something most people never do at 32. You automated $1,000 a month into investments. You checked the confirmation twice, feeling proud, finally ahead. But then, you saw a number that didn't make sense. Your sister invests $100 a month, 10 times less. Her account should look small next to yours, but it doesn't. You do the math in your head, and it's wrong. Something about her balance sits heavy in your chest now. Therefore, you open a calculator you're almost afraid to use. One missing number is about to change everything you believed. You've probably heard, start early is the only rule that matters. That myth might be costing you more than you realize. Today's lesson is called The Compounding Multiplier, and it's different. This is Sophia's story, and she believed the exact same myth. She thought investing more automatically meant she was already ahead, but one ordinary Tuesday, she saw a number she wasn't supposed to. That number didn't just surprise her, it unraveled something deeper. I won't tell you what she found. Not yet, anyway. Watch what happens when her confidence meets real compounding math. It starts on a quiet night at her kitchen table. Chapter 1. The $1,000 Confidence. Sophia sits at her table. Late at night, she schedules her first $1,000 investment ever. She checks the confirmation screen twice, savoring the number quietly. Years of paying off debt finally led to this exact moment. Daniel leans over her shoulder, laughing, calling her officially rich. She smiles, but she's already comparing herself to everyone else. She scrolls her banking app, picturing people her age falling behind. In her mind, she's finally winning the responsible adult stage of life. Therefore, she closes the laptop feeling settled, proud, and ahead. Tonight feels like the night she finally caught up completely. Weeks pass, and Sophia mentally recaps her progress every single morning. Debt gone, emergency fund built, now investing more than most friends. At family dinner, she brings up her new investment casually. She glances at her sister without saying the comparison out loud. Emma just nods, unbothered, saying nothing about her own accounts. Sophia feels the quiet satisfaction of having finally figured it out. She assumes bigger numbers automatically mean she's further ahead financially. Therefore, she stops asking questions, certain she already has the answer. She has no idea how wrong that assumption is about to feel. She has no reason yet to think anything could be missing. Sophia grabs the family laptop to print Mateo's preschool form. A browser tab is still open, left logged in from Emma's visit. It's Emma's brokerage account, sitting right there on the screen. Sophia glances at the balance, expecting something small and forgettable. Instead, an unfamiliar unease settles into her chest immediately. The number doesn't match what someone investing this little should have. She stares longer than she means to, trying to explain it, but she can't explain it, and that bothers her even more. She closes the laptop, telling herself it doesn't actually matter. Therefore, the number follows her out of the kitchen anyway. Chapter 2. The Balance That Didn't Add Up. Lunch break. Alone. Sophia sits in her car, doing rough math in her head. $100 a month over the years, times some number. Nothing she calculates gets her close to what she actually saw. She tries again, adjusting the years, adjusting the math again. Still nothing lines up the way her instincts tell her it should. Therefore, she starts wondering if she's missing something obvious here. She's never once thought about how long money sits and grows. That thought sits uncomfortably in the back of her mind. She drives back to work without finding an answer that fits. At a coffee shop, Sophia sits across from her sister Emma. She fishes for details without admitting what she actually saw. Emma casually mentions she's invested the same $100 since 22. She says it like it's nothing, barely worth mentioning at all. Sophia forces a smile, but something in her stomach tightens. 11 years of the same small amount, running quietly the whole time. She never thought something that small could matter this much. Therefore, she leaves the coffee shop more unsettled than before. The number wasn't really about the amount, it was about time. She just doesn't understand the connection yet, not fully. Back at the office, Sophia vents to a coworker about feeling behind. She complains about feeling behind despite investing so much more money. Her coworker asks one simple question from the next cubicle over. What if you'd started at 22 too? The coworker asks casually. Sophia laughs it off, but the question doesn't actually leave. It follows her through every meeting for the rest of the day. Therefore, after everyone leaves, she opens a compound interest calculator. Her hands hesitate over the keyboard before typing a single number. She's about to see something she can't unsee, and she knows it. She finally presses enter, and the screen starts to load. Chapter 3. The 10 years she can't buy back. Empty office, late. Sophia runs both scenarios side by side on her screen. Her $1,000 starting at 32, Emma's 100 starting at 22. She isn't actually losing to Emma in total dollars invested, but then she calculates what her own money could have become if she'd simply started 10 years earlier. Nothing more, nothing less. The number on the screen stops her completely cold immediately. It's not about Emma anymore. It never really was about Emma. Therefore, it's about the 10 years she personally gave away. She sits frozen, staring at a number she can't unsee now. Sophia drives home in silence, replaying the last 10 years. She replays every year between 22 and 32 in her head. The year she meant to start. The year she was too busy. The year she waited until she made more money first. Each excuse felt reasonable then, but none of them feel reasonable now. Those 10 years weren't neutral. They were the most expensive years. Therefore, she spent her most valuable years waiting instead of starting. She pulls into her driveway, but doesn't go inside right away. She sits with the number, finally understanding what it means. This was never about her sister. It was about time itself. Chapter 4. The Multiplier Rule. Sophia researches late into the night. She finds the real concept hiding behind everything she just felt. Every dollar's growth depends on how long it gets to compound. It's never just about the size of the monthly amount. She compares her multiplier against Emma's multiplier side by side. Her dollars grew roughly 4.9 times their original value. Emma's dollars grew roughly 8.7 times their original value, nearly double, from $100 a month instead of thousands. Therefore, the 10-year head start mattered more than the amount. She finally understands why the balance never made sense before. Sophia sits back, letting this new understanding settle in fully. Early doesn't beat large, and large doesn't beat early either. The real advantage comes from refusing to choose between the two. She could have started small at 22 and grown it later. Instead, she spent a decade waiting for the right amount first. Therefore, she decides she isn't going to make that mistake again. She thinks about all the money that never got a chance, but she can't get those years back, no matter what she does. She can only decide what happens with the years still ahead. That decision starts tonight, at her kitchen table again. Sophia opens her laptop again, ready to act on this immediately. She sets up a second automatic investment, just $25 weekly. It's small, almost embarrassingly small, compared to her $1,000 contribution, but she isn't doing it for the size of the number. She's doing it because starting the clock matters more than amount. Therefore, she confirms the transfer without second-guessing the small figure. For the first time, she feels like Emma instead of comparing to her. Two accounts now running, one large, one small, both compounding. She closes the laptop, feeling something different than before, lighter. She's not finished yet. There's one more account she needs to open. Saturday morning, Sophia sits down with Daniel at the kitchen table. Together they open a custodial Roth IRA for their son Mateo. He's only 4 years old, but the account can start today. She funds it with a small amount, nothing dramatic, just a start. She explains to Daniel, half to herself, why this matters so much. This single decision gives Mateo nearly 40 more years than she had. Daniel watches her fill out the form, understanding what this means. As she submits it, she realizes what Emma actually did at 22. Therefore, she wonders what her own life would look like now if someone had told her this exact lesson 10 years earlier. Months later, everything runs quietly. Sophia's 2 accounts and Mateo's account all compound automatically now, the large contribution and the small one running side by side. She stops mentally recalculating Emma's numbers against her own balance. The comparison doesn't matter to her the way it used to. She checks her accounts now for progress, not for competition. Therefore, the anxiety that once followed her quietly starts to fade. She feels something closer to peace than she's felt in years. 3 clocks are running now, and she's started every single one. That fact alone changes how she thinks about money completely. Sophia sits with Emma again, this time without any comparison. This time, she isn't comparing balances, she's talking about Mateo's account. Emma listens, genuinely happy, no trace of competition between them. Sophia doesn't flinch anymore when Emma mentions her own numbers. She's already projected what Mateo's account could look like by her age, decades ahead of either sister's starting point, simply because he started now. Therefore, the sisters talk as equals, not as two different timelines. Sophia realizes the multiplier gave her something more than just money. It gave her a different way to measure what ahead even means. She finally understands what Emma knew quietly the whole time. What Sophia discovered that night. It's called the compounding multiplier, and it changes everything about waiting. Every dollar you invest grows by a different multiplier over time. That multiplier depends entirely on how long it's allowed to compound. Sophia thought investing more money automatically meant she was ahead, but her sister's small amount, started 10 years earlier, told a different story. Sophia didn't choose between starting early or investing more. She did both. She opened a second small account, just $25 a week. Then she opened a custodial account for her son, Mateo, immediately. She gave him nearly 40 more years of compounding than she had. Here's what you can do with this exact same lesson tonight. It doesn't matter if you can only invest $25 weekly. What matters is starting the clock today, not next year, not someday. Open one account tonight of any size before you go to sleep. Automate it, even if it's small, even if it feels embarrassing. The size of the amount matters far less than you probably think. Time is doing most of the work. You just have to start it. Therefore, don't wait for the right amount like Sophia once did. Start tonight and let time do what it does best, always. Because someday never compounds, but tonight compounds for decades.